I've kept telling myself that I'd do a podcast, and I've kept telling that myself time over time, and I never did. And this is one time that I'm actually sitting down here to record it, so I hope it should be worth it. We just settled around and wrote 8 to 9 topics on what we should do the podcast on, and this is one of those topics: success for a 17-year-old. And why this topic over others? Well, there's only one reason: because we both will be turning 18 soon. And success for a 18-year-old does not sound that cool. So here we are with the topic success for a 17-year-old. I'm caught up in between trying to be too informal and too formal. So pardon me if I make any mistakes, because I'm glad that I'm at least making this podcast even if with mistakes. There's not much to introduce ourselves. I won't go in much into the introduction section and directly jump to the part. Now, first of all, let me just make it clear. Why does it matter that what success means to us, we 17-year-olds? I don't know. But just as I don't have any reason to do it, I also don't have any reason to not do it. So here I am. And here I am with a friend of mine. We tried our best. We are immatures. We don't know really which direction to go, but we have been trying our best to do it the best way possible. And we just divided this podcast into several pointers. The first is being done by me, that is the introduction. We did write a script, but that script was in a separate folder that we did not have right now, so now we have to just improvise. Kudos to us. But we realized that postponing it would not be the solution. Even if raw, even if not scripted, we had to do it. The first pointer is introduction, I'm covering that. Secondly, we'll talk about what usually teens relate with success. Then what it means to us. Then was it to be, because we are students, we are 17-year-olds, we are students now and we'll be students for the coming years of our life. So what is being academically successful and how important is it? What about successful relationships with our friends, with our family, with our partners, if there be any? Does it really matter what success means to others? I know there will be a lot of points which will not be discussed in this segment. I don't know how much quality we'll be able to speak when we address these points, how much justice we'll be able to do the time that you give listening to this, how much justice we'll be able to do to ourselves speaking on these topics. I don't know any of that, but I know that I'm stretching introduction way too long and we have to begin.
Now we'll start and discuss about the point, what do really we teens relate to success? Like, as I am also a normal teen, according to me, what really I think success would be, it would be just something very simple, just to make me and the people I like and love, to make them happy. At present, what we all do, we all just start seeing we start to make idols. I have nothing to say against that, but it has some of its pros and cons both. What happens whenever we make an idol, I'm good at academics, I want to be a scientist, I want to be like APJ Abdul Kalam, I have set my goals upon that. But what happens is, in some or the other way, it gives me a motivation, but it sets a lot of expectations. Like, you start expecting a lot from yourself and you just forget to appreciate yourselves upon the small things.
Just one pointer I'd like to add it to it as well is that we don't realize that we are actually comparing us in our teenage to the people that have achieved so much over their lives, who are in their 60s, their 70s, on the peak of their life, have given 20 years more in that service, more than our age. And we compare ourselves to them. We expect us to be as good as they are at such beginning stage when they have been so ahead of it. So I think we need to relate that they would have also started at some point.
And there is some positive pointers also, that it gives us motivation, but accordingly, as our generation is working, we majorly get attracted to negative things. Or if you want to compare yourselves with the persons who are at the top, what were they doing at the age you are at present? Like, try to get in healthy competition, don't pressurize yourself much. And talking about what all we teen relate what success is, we majorly just try and focus ourselves upon monetary achievements. If I say success to someone, they would be like getting a good job, having good money, making my parents proud, having a nice partner, living in a good house. We are just bounded with monetary achievements. We always lack upon our own development as a human being. By saying monetary achievements a lot of time, like I don't say that what we teens have developed. I could say like society have put in these words in our mouth. We are not the one running around money, but environment around us, the society, how it's going on, like they have shut all these words in our mouth. I will also not say that like the society is doing something wrong, because by society what I see is a lot of people who are in their middle age, like 40s, 50s and 60s, and point is they really do care for us. They want us to live a good and healthy life. So in some or the other way they are also not wrong, neither us. But the problem is in the interpretation. Like we aren't able to interpret what our elders are saying, and our elders aren't able to understand what we are thinking. In short, I just want to conclude that like lower your expectations from yourselves. Try to make a balance with the society, with your parents, with your elders. Try to explain them what you really want, and just keep it simple. Never stress out yourself. Like there is no age restriction for being successful. Try to find out the essence of your life.
There's also one more person on this podcast, and let us hear out what he really believes what success means to him.
I would ask, what do really success means to him?
What success really means to me? I mean, what do I interpret it of it, the term? I think it's a made up term. I mean, like every other term, this is a made up term. It was made by someone, believed by others, and then it just kept on going. It was a parameter to judge someone. But there also lies another truth to it, that it has made our society, the earth, we as humans, the way we are today. All the developments that have been there, all the drawbacks that we have, it has its own demerits and merits, but to me it doesn't take away the fact that it is a made up term. And like every made up term, it is completely on us what we make of it. When we hear the word success, what we correlate it with, what we think it means, how we should act on it. I think every single one of that choice that we make, that what really makes what success is to us. It cannot be just a random definition that comes on Google when you search it up. It has to be something more of what it truly means to you. It could be different to every human and everything. And if I be honest, anything that does not make you better, that thing is not doing anything good, and that should not be bothered about. If you think of success and you are not doing better in life because of it, because of that existence of that term, makes you face a lot of more problems. If when you hear the word success and you're not able to do something better in life, I guess then it loses its purpose. I think everything that we have in our lives, a word, people, experiences, thoughts, every one of that single mindset that you have, it should be pushing you towards betterment. It should be pushing you towards development, not the other way around. So if you can derive something good from the entire existence of success, when someone says it to you, when you say it to yourself in your head, then it's good. If you can't do that, that really loses its point, like any other thing. There's not going to be any takeaway from the fact that people will judge you on these bases, and especially the age we are in, most of us will be criticized, judged on the basis that how we are performing academically, if we are academically successful or not. And this is really quite an important point, and actually I'd be quite honest, we have discussed this point beforehand, before the actual recording started, and we did say something, and then we went on for another recording, and then we realized whatsoever we are saying in the previous recording, we quite didn't really believe in. Everything that we just said on instinct, and everything that we really said after really thinking, was very different. And that is when we realized that how much influence everything around us have had is what we really are. So when this question popped up that what is to be academically successful, we really gathered around, did our research on what academic means, and then dig out some research. This is one point where we really did some research, and by the grace of the God, we have that research with us. Thank you. So this question has to be addressed, but since I've been speaking for the past 4 to 5 minutes, I guess it's someone else's turn to speak. So that man will do the favor.
For answering the question, we should really first of all know what really academics is. Academics is simply just the course or kind of education an educational institution provides us. So, just having the knowledge, would that be academically successful? Having good scores, good marks, would that be academically successful? Or having a balance of good curricular activities, extra knowledge, and with that a good amount of knowledge which our academic institutions are giving us. And you all know the answer. I don't really think I should be here and telling you what really you should do. First of all, I think we could talk about like how our educational institutions work. Our educational institutions, like, yeah, they provide us with a lot of curricular activities, but as we all know, those curricular activities doesn't really give a lot of exposure to us. So I really just want say to you all that just try and learn some good skills out of what you all are studying and getting from schools and colleges. Just try and learn some or the other kind of skill, and you should also try and absorb all the useful knowledge and content around you. I really want to say that implementation of knowledge in your practical life, like whatever you are seeing, whatever you are learning, you should really know the practical implementation of it, because just theoretical knowledge, it's not worth it. Having that key of practicality, how to apply the things you are learning, that's really something we all should be focusing on. And now jump out and discuss about what really success means in a relationship, and I really mean by with your family, with your friends, with your relatives, and if you have some partners. So
I guess that's where I come in. I'm not any expert of any kind or anyone. Because even if I were to have a natural conversation with you, then it's not like I have a perfectly written script or anything. I'm speaking from my mind, speaking from my heart, and these are such topics which are sensitive. And yours and mine behavior in this aspect is quite similar. That means we feel a lot, but we barely say about these things ever. Not only to the persons that we especially want to mention, but in general as well. We keep practicing it in our heads, carrying out situations. We do this, we do that, we feel this, we felt that. But it has been such rare instances. There have been such rare instances where we are really have opened ourselves and spoke out our mind, that even when we are asked to do that on a podcast, we are not able to speak because it is so out of habit for us. And that is disappointing because it is not like that those people are not important to us, whether it be our friends, partners, family, parents, anyone. Those people are the most important people that you can have in your life, and they are important to us. Most of us, actually. I'm speaking on the behalf of most of the students because most of my friends are, of course, in this age group, and I've had conversations with them about this topic. And there's always this quite hesitant to touch this topic because sometimes you're just in that good mood and you don't want to think about these things because not always you want to go into that deep state of thinking and everything. If I'm talking about successful relationships, I do not even know how those two terms really go together. I mean, there's no benchmark that you would mark upon anyone else's relationship to be successful or not. It is how you, and you even personally don't have to evaluate or it anything. I'm speaking this from the ideal point of view of me, like what I would hope I should do, what I would want me to do. I'm talking from those points. that I would not like to evaluate my relationships on some pointers or anything. It is just there are those people which I feel special with. They don't really have to be my friend, they don't really have to be my partner or my family. They can be anyone. They're just people that you have a special connection with. And once you come to know that those are important people in your life and then they matter to you, I think what ideally I would want me to do is to keep expressing it at times, via actions, via words, both if possible, and at times regularly. Because I wouldn't want them to know how much importance they carry in my life. And if I'm just able to, contribute to their lives, they are glad to have me in theirs. I'm not a burden of any kind. We share good moments together. We have that openness among ourselves. Then I guess that's just like, if you have that freedom and you don't have to demand it by any means, I guess that's just, I mean, any parameter, man, any parameter that you can just connect to with, that you can feel, I would call that a successful relationship. And there's no one else except you to speak on that matter. There's just one thing that you have to keep in mind is you have to be true to yourself. Sometimes people want to form relations with other people for the sake of some other benefits, and they feel terrible in it. So don't lie to yourself. As long as you are being honest to yourself, some steps will be hard to be taken, but they have to be taken. Otherwise, there's just one thing that is left inside you, and that is regret. All the care, all the affection, all the willingness to express yourself, that all of the things are just faded out a little bit with time, and regret takes over when you have kept it in so long. Because times and moments will come, because we as people, when we want to express something, we don't. But at every moment, because you spend a lot of time together, so there'll always be moments you won't agree with each other, and there will be often clashings of any sort, arguments and any sort. And don't those things you don't rationally think and do. So whenever you'll be angry, you'll just speak anything, and later when you have to apologize and you know you have to, you won't, because that is comes out of rational thinking, and that is where we lack. We don't act on such occasions on rational thinking. We don't apologize, we don't thank them. But because we do act out of anger, we often yell at them, argue about them, things that really don't matter. And because they handle us, because they care for us, because they maybe won't argue back, or their words won't hurt us as much as anybody else's, and we take them for granted, and we don't want to. So I guess, I know knowing what to do is right is a tough step, but the problem is, the bigger problem I think here is, most of us know what has to be done, but we lack something in us to do that. And I think that's the bigger problem, to know what has to be done and still not being able to do that. So I think that's just a step we have to take. And I have tried it a few times. It really felt revealing. It really just felt revealing, and I hope I can continue to do that more and more in the future, because I care about people and I want to show them that they are important, because they are. I think I could go on, keep speaking about it. You ask 10 other people, they'll skip it, they'll talk about it. These are such things that if there is no research based thing, unless you're talking from a psychological point of view of something, these words won't end, our inspections won't end, our feelings won't end, our expressions won't end. And sometimes words will answer less than the silence. And maybe talking is the first step, but it shouldn't be the sole step either. So I'm glad I'm talking about these points. I hope I do something with them. I hope anyone else, not even with my answers, but with just this one question, they find their own answers and imply them in their life. I mean, I could just hope the world be a better place if I actually think the world be a better place if people could really, you know, do something for other people, and just the people they care about, because everybody cares about somebody. And I hope everybody cares about somebody, because they're important. It is important to have people in life. I didn't really write a script. I don't know how long I'm going, but I think I've just spoken fine. And now this is a serious topic, but talking about people that are important to us, I mean, there are obviously, I talked about arguments and everything. It comes to me a fact that there are often things which arguments get heated upon and everything. And it is times when, because people that care about you have expectations from you. And I know you've talked about expectations in while answering a previous question as well in the same segment. And you talked about having expectations in quite depth, but I want to ask a question. Does it really matter what our success means to others? Now, who could those others be? How much should it matter to us? How, in what manner, what way? I think I don't know what length we are going in, but I think that is a topic that we should cover, even if we are exceeding the limit that we idealized initially. So, if you could just throw up some light over that fact.
Doesn't matter what really your success means to others. Yeah, maybe in a positive manner, yes. But the major point is we shouldn't be burdened upon it. It should push us forward, and just by not hurting others, we should keep in consideration that other peoples also have expectations from us. So first of all, who these other peoples are, they could be bifurcated into two segments, I can say that. Like ones who are close to you and the ones you really don't know. So as talking about the ones who are close to you, be like your parents, your family, your friends, your partner. So to them, your success would really matter because in their life you are someone who matters. Things related to you would really matter, and maybe they would be having some kind of expectations from you. And I think these expectations should be taken in a positive manner. And in many cases, children like take these expectations into a negative point of view. But if we just take those expectations in a positive manner, it would really work as a pushing factor for us to always do something good. And now talking about the second bifurcations, like the ones you really don't know, the ones who are not close to you, who they are. They are the society from which you are surrounded. People out of your small circle of your family, friends, relatives, like everyone out of like those 50, 100 people you really know, to you really meet. So in what scenarios like your success, it would surely matter them, because if you would be someone good, like you would be successful, you would have resources, you would definitely try and help out people, maybe in your limits or maybe just extending your limits. You will really be a good asset for the society. In that way your success would really matter to others. So now I think we should wrap it up with a small conclusion.
I'd be quite honest, we have done this podcast and, we have not done it in this one run time or something. There have been days of gap in between. So I don't really have that total grasp on the topics that we talked about. But if there has to be one line that I have to sum this thing up with, it will be people say, why have the podcast when you can sum up with this one line? But if there has to be, it will be that it is not about what the term says, what people say about that term, maybe even what you feel of it. I think it is more about what you make of it. If there's success we are talking about, if the term success, what you connect with it, what you feel with it, if it really brings out the best from you, if it really helps you make yourself better, and it is not about just that term, it's about what you make of it. So if you can turn it some way that you can just get yourself on a better track, make yourself a better person, then I think that is the most important thing. And if that really is not going in your favor, if wherever success comes up and you are not able to give your best, then I think you should really not give much thought to it. We both have been here for quite a few minutes now, actually more than that, and we have discussed on the topic of success for a 17-year-old. But there's also one more person. He was not a part of the entire podcast, but he has just joined in right now, and I'd just like to have a quick brief from him what he really takes it out of this topic. So just gonna go straight to the topic. What do you really think when I asked to you, what does success mean to you? What is success for a 17-year-old? How important is everything about success that you can think on the top of your head right now? How would you describe it?
Success for a 17-year-old is a really interesting topic because of the word success, because it's a really broad term. Everybody can have different meaning of success. A lot of thing has been said about it in the previous part of the podcast, but I would like to conclude it by saying I don't think 17 years old are meant to be successful. You haven't even finished your school. You are about to enter college. In a college, you are going to experience a lot of new things, and most of the things you are going to fail. So you're meant to fail a lot of things so that you're going to gain experience from that stuff and use that in your future life. If you really think you are successful at the age of 17, well, good for you. But I don't think so that is the case for most of the people, because this experience from these failures are going to shape your future. What is going to help us in the future to build a better future? And we don't have to fear the failures in the college or in the school, because my father once said to me when I was sad because I was not doing really good in my exam, that I don't have anything to lose at this age. At the age of 17, I don't have anything to lose. I don't have any pressure to like feed my family. Only thing I'm doing every day is gaining knowledge day by day, not at the pace I might like, but I'm gaining. I'm not losing anything. So the fact is, you might fail, you might succeed by the age of 17, but the fact is you have to try experiencing new things, and this experience is what that matters.
That is an excellent point to be made, actually. And this is just one thing that my friend once said to me, the same one that's on the podcast right now. He's interested in trading, and he said that he wants to start trading as early as possible so that he has enough time to fail, not to succeed, but to fail, enough time to fail. Right? Was that right?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
totally correct because like the point is we are really like at a low age, like we are just 17, 18. Like at this present age, like literally we could run to our parents, cried in front of them and say, यार पापा मेरे साथ ऐसा हो गया, यार मम्मी मेरे साथ ऐसा हो गया. But by the age, like if you reach to the age of like 25, 26, like you can't go and like experience, like you can't gain experience in different fields, because then you have a mental pressure of being successful in the particular field where you start working. But at this present moment, you could be successful in a particular thing, but that's not your point of saturation. Like you could try out different things and maybe you could be a more successful person in that. So this is the real age where we should try out a lot of things, because we have nothing to lose. The only thing we could lose here is that we haven't tried.
the only thing we can lose is the experience
Yeah,
we could have gained.
totally.
Oh, yes, and the opportunities, to be honest, right? Because if
Real
we don't
experience, the
try,
experience of the
yeah, I mean,
opportunities.
that is. I mean, I'm a fan of such conversations, man. I think the next time we really sit down, I don't think we really need much of the discussion. We three or just four people need to sit down, have this firm conversation, not like I asking question, you answering, throwing it back to me, I answering. Just a
Yeah,
casual
like not
discussion, a
making it
conversation.
making it formal and not just getting a lot informal, just keeping it in something in between and like just
Yeah,
going
we
it
are
in a
sincere
short.
right now. We are, I think you should pause the recording. It's going to explode your storage.
It's gonna